Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to House and Garden Flipper episode 149. We are heading back to our, what do you call that thing? Yes, back to our bunker house. We're going to finish off our garden for our preppers, and they will have a nice utility garden to help with their survival. A little tip down the bottom is especially salient today. It's wood and stone look good in a utility garden, so we might just change out our mulch buckets and put in wooden ones instead of the current plastic ones we have there. Utility gardens like natural materials, wood and stone, so we will correct that error. We have finished our bathroom and our entryway yesterday. We also finished our getting distracted. We also finished our bunker, and we are heading in. So I actually put in plastic mulch bins because I thought they looked good, but apparently wood and stone is the thing for a utility garden, so we will correct that pretty quick. Go into our other, there's wooden composters we can use. I'm going to put in teak because it's the closest I can get to cedar. So we'll just again use that same 4 square thing that we used before. So this will help to build a self-sustaining garden, recycle their garden waste, and in general hopefully make their life a bit easier. I did take out the rose bushes along here because they were a little bit too close. Now I'm going to have to put them back in because they fit now, whereas they didn't before. So we'll just grab that into flower beds, we did rose bushes, and they were indeed white. So I think I had one here. I'm going to get to this buy many thing eventually. Oops. Okay, I think I am getting some interference from the bunker space below, which is going to make some of my placings look a little odd. I took out some of because I had to face it this way to get the space between the house and the sheds. I took out all of the supplies I'd put in. I couldn't put in shelving, I discovered. And I'm pretty sure that it probably hasn't changed overnight. So maybe I should ask very nicely if that would be allowed. But I can't put shelves in my garden shed. So we are just going to fill this particular garden shed with garden tools. I know I had it the other way around the other day, but we are going to go... Just have to remember where I found the tools. Might have been in accessories. Yep, there we go. So we're going to fill this shed with garden tools. I might put in 2 of each because you're not going to be able to replace your garden tools. Oops, it's really not playing the game today, is it? Okay. I can't get it flush against the wall for some reason. Again, I think I'm getting some interference from the bunker space below. So that's okay. We will do what we can with it. And that will be fine. So there are 2 rakes. We'll go with 2 shovels. If they want any more, I'm sure they're quite capable of purchasing their extra tools for anything that I might have missed. I might put a couple of wood saws in, always handy if you're collecting your own timber. Again, looks like I'm having interference from the from the space below. That's always a bit of a problem. If I could put shelves in, all of these would be nicely set up on shelves. What I'd love is to be able to put hooks in. Oh, speaking of things I'd love, and things I'm looking forward to with this game as well, the HGTV DLC is coming. It should be here in 12 days time, Australian time, I think, because it's the 2nd of May now. It's due out on the 14th. I'm really looking forward to it. So that will happen in this playthrough. I won't start a new playthrough just for that. I'll add it into what we've already done. On top of that, they're running a bit of a bargain with Train Station Renovator. If you own House Flipper, I think you get something like 25 to 30% off purchasing Train Station Renovator. And I gave that thing a test drive yesterday, and I really enjoyed myself. So if you're interested, I might run a little bit of that at another time. So just drop that into the comments or something and let me know. But Train Station Renovator, where you renovate train stations, it's fun, and it's just got released yesterday. So I'm really enjoying that as well. Let me see, what was I looking for? Supplies. So there you go, 2 things I wanted to remember to mention today, because I spent far too much time yesterday afternoon testing or playing Train Station Renovator and just getting my head around it to see if it was something I'd want to recommend to someone who enjoyed House Flipper. And I do, so there you go. Well, what else is there? That's about it. So I'm just going to put those extra water supplies in that I didn't put in downstairs. Again, if I had, actually it wouldn't do me much good to have shelving because these things don't fit on shelves. We need some fuel supplies as well, so I'll drop in containers, there we go. Drop in some fuel canisters up here just so that we can get a little bit of extra fuel up in the garden shed. And I suppose they could always tell their neighbours it's mower fuel. I'm not sure their neighbours would believe them, but it's worth a shot. What I need is a mower to put in the shed. That would be cool. I should probably put this up in the... They do have a suggestions field. I should probably put it up there, and I just haven't gotten up onto the Discord to do that. Driving me crazy. And shelves that are big enough to stack these things on. That would be good. So these are huge. Alright, so this is my slightly messy supply shed. Don't know if it drives them as crazy as it drives me. That is definitely some interference happening with the bunker downstairs. That's fine. There's a lot going on for the program to track. Okay, so that will do. They now know that they can put in custom shelving if they wish, and more supplies. To get going onto this, a utility garden often blends flowers as well as fruit. We're going to get in with our rebas. Rebas are currants. Currants are a really good source of vitamin C. Vitamin C is really good for not getting scurvy, which you don't want if you don't have any access to medical, if your medical access is limited. So we will start with some black currants, put them in between our rose bushes, our grapevines. I don't know if actually I was going to put tomatoes over there, so that will get moved. And I don't want to obscure here, so we'll just leave that one blank. 1, 2, there are 3 varieties of currants. I'm spreading them out in pretty much the same way as I spread out the grapevines, so that anything that affects one will hopefully not get your other black currant bushes and cause a disaster. So we are going to have to make a run all the way through here and plant these, but let's just get the spacing in first. Maybe get them all done in one go. I was thinking of putting them in along in between the rose bushes, but I might save that for... Actually, you know what? That would give me some continuity. 1, 2, pop that one in there. Yes, so we will do that. I might be able to get 2 in there. We'll just toddle in this way. Oops. Did I just... Don't ask me what that was about. Obviously I fit. So that's all that mattered. Alrighty. But on this side we're going to put lavender, because lavender is another one of your medicinals. Let's go with our red currants now, just to keep that theme going through. So we're going to go black, red, white. Helps if I hit the buy many button. And it also helps if I remember what I've done with my previous plantings. There we go. The other thing with currants is a little bit more versatile in that you can do jams, and you can do in order to preserve them, you can do jam and you can do pie and you can do juice. So if you're if they're into their survival cooking, they've got a lot of variety they can choose from to supplement their diet, as long as they remember to get enough flour. Otherwise pie might be a bit scarce for them. I've forgotten to do... no, I haven't. Okay, and we head in and do the last. We'll do the white currant now. So what I'm hoping is there's enough diversity between these varieties that if one gets sick, it won't spread through to the rest. We won't put any in there. It also gives a bit of colour to the garden, makes it look a little bit less practical, even though without reducing function. So actually I've already been that way. Alright, so that gives us our currants. What else? We were also going to put in an orchard, so I might as well get those trees down to, so this area was going to be veggie patches, which means I need more composters. So we just grab that composter while it's here, go in back with the teak, keep that solid, and leave a space. I probably should put another shed in, but I think 2 sheds will do them to start with. If they want more, they can grab more. We might make that a double row of composters. That way they can have their mulch at different stages. So one they're starting and one that's nearly ready to go. So that will help. Okay. And we are putting in our trees. Now the thing to remember with apples, and I think with plums as well, is you're going to need another tree to pollinate. They tend to pollinate with other later blooming trees, and that caught me by surprise the first time I ever looked at them. So we are going to grab a couple of varieties of apples, a couple of varieties of plums. They need to flower and fruit at slightly close together, but not exactly the same time. Alrighty, let's go with, have a look at our champion apples. And what I might do is, just so I can alternate between them, grab a medium plum. Alright, I just need to make sure I've got enough walk space between them. Just bring that back to here. Just going to try and see what I'm doing. Alright, I'm not sure why that won't sit in a nice neat line, but it doesn't. So that gives us apples and it gives us plums. There are our bush tomatoes. We'll get to them in a minute. Apples, we've done our vines. Let's go with our pears. We'll just go with the medium. Pop that there. And then I will pop another diagonally about here, and I should be able to fit another tree in between them. Large pears, small cherries. Let's go with our medium cherries. Pop it back in here and pop that over here. So all of these are going to need planting. Okay, so we have some Gaia apples and some John Golds. They're kind of cute and small. Let's make them like little guards on either side of the tree. No, maybe just there. Space, and I'll put another one here. And grab our Gaia. Oops, that's... I forgot what I just planted. Okay, I did just plant the John Gold. Actually, I can't remember what I just planted. Oh, let's have a look at them. Okay, those look like the Gaias, so we are after the Jonagolds. Just put... Okay, so they need to be planted. This is going to be a slightly shadier area, so I'm actually going to put my raspberry bushes and things along in here, which I will do after I've planted the things that need planting. Otherwise my life will get far too interesting. Edibles. We're going to need strawberries, that'll happen. I don't know what a chain of mealies is. I still haven't looked it up. And I also need to put in some cornus mass. Let's plant what we've got to start with. Just gonna do a mass putting in, and then I'll do a mass digging. Just get it all done in one big hit. Oops. I'm really glad I discovered that I could do this. It just makes it feel a lot less tedious and more efficient. I don't know if it really is, mind you, but it makes it feel that way. Okay, that should be everything. Now we'll just go back and dig everything in. You do need a mouse tap per. So basically we're just getting the whole edible plant garden thing going. Oops. Yep. Sometimes I go a little bit quick and I miss a dig, which means when I go back just to throw them into the hole I have to end up grabbing out the shovel again. It's not a big thing, but it slows you down. Thinking we might put our strawberries in under our grapevines and our other bits and bobs, and I haven't checked to see if they're companion plants, but hopefully they are, which means that they'll help each other grow. You also need to put in marigolds. They're another edible properties. And I would put in nasturtiums, but we don't have any. So violas, however, little violets, are also edible, so we might put a few of those in. So that gives the garden a good variety of edible plants to go with the veggie patch. I should also put down some mulch under all of these, because that will mean that they require less maintenance, which means it means basically before the apocalypse you can have lots and lots of time, or more time, to do other things, and if worst comes to worst, you've got time to focus on more than just growing plants. So we'll get all of these in. Going a little bit faster than the notifications can keep up. Oops. So if you click once more than is required for your if you hold, your shovel goes away and you just have to get it back. That's pretty simple. So for most plants it looks like it's 3 digs. What I'm thinking is if we can get this garden done today, we might take this house to auction and go through the garden contest as well. And then we can have a look and see what's next. I'm not sure we're going to get through all of the... actually, I know we won't get through all of the houses before the HGTV release. But that's okay because we can intersperse them or come back to them once we finish working through that. So yeah. Alright, nearly worked our way around. I've got one more row of fruit trees after I finish this corner, and then we can start putting things in and watering them. And after that I think we'll get the vegetable patches in and the raspberries and blackberries. I was complaining about doing so many modern gardens, but this makes a nice change. That is a massive apple tree. All right. So now because we've got right, let's get that away. Because these guys are so far apart, what I'm just going to do is do this stage of it fairly together. Because there's no cutting in and out of tools. Actually, yes there is. We're just going to do another run around the garden. And we'll grab that. Ah, I haven't finished the hole. I knew there was... Oops. Okay. Alrighty, let's just try this thing again. There we go. Much better. And we're just about done with these. So this is the heavy part of the garden. Once you get the mowing done, I think the planting and putting in the trees can sometimes be the next most tedious part of the thing. They look great once they're in, but getting them in is yeah, takes a bit. Alrighty, just go through. If these were closer together, I would just save the watering till last and do that as a separate step as well. Because what sometimes happens when you water plants that are close together is that you get to water in more than one at once. But these guys are so far apart that that won't happen, so we might as well just water them in as we get to them. Actually, these might happen with these two. Let's just try. Yeah, so they're just that little bit too far apart for it to to happen. I love the way it sounds like you're on concrete. So yeah, it's one of the best bits about this game is transforming a garden or a house or whatever from one thing into something quite different. So you'll notice too in the mini-map the markers for your plants as you're putting them in are going from red to green once the watering is done. So if you ever miss one, you can always check as you go through and just make sure. So which is more important for when you're doing the commissions and you're trying to 100% them. So if they say to plant something and you swear black and blue you've done it, just make sure that the little circle is green. That's right, I watered those in. I'm like, how did that happen? It was easy, I made it happen. So we'll just get this in. So we've got all of our commissions for Apocalypse Flipper, Garden Flipper and House Flipper done. So when HGTV arrives, we'll know that the commissions that we've got for them, all the live commissions will be the commissions just for that DLC. So that will be huge. Although I have to say, I do want to start a new game once I've gone through with this one. I do want to start a new one just to see what it looks like when you've got all 3 DLCs at once. Because I think your task list would look something phenomenal. There are 40 tasks between Garden Flipper and House Flipper, 40 commissions. And I think they're talking about putting in something else, but I could be wrong on that one. One of my favourite things whenever something's happening, like Halloween or Easter or Christmas or Valentine's Day. It's always nice. I always look forward to seeing maybe if there is a new task or if there's a new house or definitely new decorations. That's always fun. So, all right. Hopefully, I don't get myself caught up under the tree branch again. That's always upsetting. The weeping willows are the worst for it. Alright, these two we're going to cover together. They might actually be close enough for one watering to do them both. So we'll see. Yeah, so just occasionally when you go to water them in, if they're standing close together like that, you don't need to water twice. Oh, right. Not quite. Right, for some reason... Okay, I obviously didn't water these two in properly. They looked like they were in, but they weren't. Okay, which means we just have blackberries and raspberries along here. We're going to alternate. They're probably still close enough. Oh, sorry, blackberries and blueberries and raspberries, not blackberries. They're close enough to alternate that they're probably close enough that alternating doesn't make a difference. But we're going to do that anyway. Actually, what I might do is just put that there. We can fit 2 in. I'm not going to take it round the corner though. What I'm thinking is that the back of the house will get enough sunlight that it'll be a good spot for tomatoes. So we're going to put tomatoes around the back of the house. Bunch of raspberries. Should be able to fit that. Yep, in here. Gonna need another blueberry. Excellent. All right. So we have our berry patch almost done. I still need to put in lavender and strawberries. So let's get a little bit of lavender going in here so that will come out of our flower beds. And I haven't put in any meadowsweet or shrubby cinquefoil, which I was going to do, but I'm not sure I'm going to have space. So we will see how that goes. There's the marigolds. Let's go with the lavender first because it takes up the most space. I've lost it. Chrysanthemums also useful. Okay. This will be a fragrant garden and not in a horse manure kind of way. Alrighty. Probably won't. I was going to mass it along the fence. Oh yeah, no, I can do that. Oops, it's stuck under my apple tree. Okay, so we're going to use that along the front. Okay. And we're going to start up in this corner. Just work our way back. Probably don't want to do that because you still need to have access to the grapevines. Alright, that doesn't want to fit there. Let's go to here. Oop. Wait a minute. Okay. Just going to put that there and that one there. Actually, I'm thinking I probably should have saved that space for the cornice mass, but that's okay. I'm just going to pop these 3 around here. Cornice mass, the cinquefoil. And we'll just get this done here and here. I'm supposed to put tomatoes along there. I'll get it right eventually. Okay, speaking of which, let's get those tomatoes in. We have two varieties of tomatoes. We have the bush tomato and the bigger tomato, cocktail tomato. So, and by bush tomato, they don't mean the sort of tomato I'm thinking of, which is a small plant in outback Australia that comes in 5 varieties, 3 of which will kill you, and 2 of which need to be prepared properly before you that's right, this one doesn't want to be planted here, before you can eat them safely. So there you go, trivia for the day. Let's see if I can plant these. Alright, I'll just move this over just a little bit. Okay, that was a little bit too much. Now it doesn't want to be planted. Don't do this to me. There we go. Let's try again. Alright, I'm just going to go inside and then I'm going to come back outside. I just think there's a bit of a glitch happening with the tomatoes. Alright, let's see if this improved anything. No, it didn't. Okay, fine. Maybe there's not a glitch. I'll just bring them out. No. Okay, it was location. They didn't like where I was trying to put them. Probably because they were too close to the rose bush. I don't even know if tomatoes and roses get along. Okay. Alright, now that one's not happy. Let's see if we can just get him to move along about here. Nope. Fine, there goes my idea of putting tomatoes in along the fence line. Let's give them their own tomato patch. Sorry, along the house line. Let's see if the bush tomatoes, sorry, the cherry tomatoes will fit in better. Cocktail tomatoes, other word for them. Okay, alright, so we're basically just going to have to put our tomatoes in separately over here. That's okay. I'm going to have this weird lonely tomato sitting out all by itself. Going, but I want to be there. Actually, I'll pull it up and move it. We might go with a garden bed of tomatoes. Where are my cocktail tomatoes? Hopefully I can fit 4 in there. Okay. And now we go. Alright, it's not going to let me do an en masse. That's fine. 3 digs for tomatoes as well. Okay, so it won't let me put that one in. Let's pop that over there for a minute. Just going to lift this one up and just move it a tiny bit. Okay, and then we're just going to do the same with these ones. All right. So basically we just got the vegetable gardens to go. I will put lavender in along that that house, the rear of the house, things I can't put plants in. And I need to also put strawberries in everywhere else. This should be one of those cases where I can water once and have several plants water in rather than having to water each plant individually, because they're close enough together that that should occur. don't think we're going to get this one finished today, so tomorrow's episode will be the final episode for this house and garden. But we will go a little bit further and just see how much of our vegetable patch we can get done. Alright, I am going to grab 2 more of these dwarf cherry tomato things. Cherries because they're the size of the cherries, and cocktail because you can use them in a cocktail. Although one does not spring to mind. So if they're really lucky, they'll be able to use their tomatoes as opposed to their tin supplies of tomatoes, which will be better for them. There we go. Right. So as you can see, by just watering one, if you look at the mini map, you'll see that several of these are being watered in at once. So it should hopefully make our life a lot easier. Rather than watering like 16 times, we've only had to water twice. Okay. Let's go back to our lavender and we'll pop that all in along this wall here. I'm going to leave my stray tomato bush exactly where it is. Hopefully. Actually, no, it's going to drive me crackers. Oh, bye tomatoes. Alright, and one more. And we are going to put in... Alright, so we need strawberries along under the grapevines. We need marigolds in along here. And we also need violas. Do we have the little violet things? Let's just go into plants and flower beds. So sunflowers, we really should put some of those into. Not sure where. I might give them their own little garden in the corner. Okay, so there's the marigolds. The other one I was thinking of are the violets, and the violets like shade, so we'll put them out in the orchard if there are any. Okay, so there are no violets. That's okay. Alright, that's fine. So just marigolds then. After we do strawberries. Alrighty. Now these things are a little bit dodgy to put in. They don't like... Okay. I always have trouble trying to get these to form any kind of coherent border. That's okay. I'm just trying to make them do something they're not meant to. Alright, I'm just going to go for a little bit more alfresco than formal. It's kind of like sketching. You're sketching how you want it to kind of be. And if we put in a mulch border under here, it'll look like it's meant to happen. I just don't like spreading them so far out from the actual garden bed itself. Okay. Alright, leave that space there, otherwise you'll be stepping on strawberries and creating strawberry jam that you can't enjoy. I think it might actually be the black currant bushes that they don't like coming in around. I think I was playing with currant bushes the last time I had trouble putting the strawberries in. Yeah. Or it could be the strawberries. What I wanted was a mass planting of strawberries really close together. It's just visually better. So that's a bit better. All right. That's so eventually in time these things would just spread all under there, and you would get this massive strawberries in around your vines as well. Of course, if you have a guard dog, that's not going to do you much good, because all of the dogs I've ever had have enjoyed eating my strawberries if they could get to them, so I never used to get any. So yes, if this is a garden with a pet, they may need to have their pet supervised come strawberry season if they want to have any strawberries for jam. I think the problem with the strawberries not wanting to go in close to the plants just happens around the currants. So if you want a nice neat garden bed, see, now that I said that, it goes really well around the white currant. So maybe that's not it at all, maybe it's my dodgy driving. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, just get that. That's right, we weren't putting strawberries along the front fence, so that's that bit done. So, okay, but we were putting in marigolds. So let's get, what I might do is, oops, that's the John Gold that's giving me problems. So yeah, we might just see how many of these marigolds we can get in before we have to stop. I've got, they're a lot more orange than I thought, but that's okay. So basically they're another medicinal kind of plant, and they're edible. it does not want to go there. Okay. So we'll just put a few of these in just to, it adds colour, but most importantly, it again gives another food option. So it's kind of like a cross between an English garden and a utility, a traditional garden, farmer's garden. But it's no plant in here is actually just for decoration. Everything has a second purpose. Okay, let's get some of these in here. Alright. Right, that's right, we're not doing marigolds in up there. Okay. My strawberries everywhere. It's like, no, we don't want to be cooperative plants. Fine. Don't be cooperative plants. It should. It'll keep the neighbours happy because it's pretty. And it'll keep the family happy because it's practical. Okay. I think it's the red currant gives me the most trouble. See, even the rose bushes aren't that picky. Now, what else was I going to put in along here? I was going to put, no, that's right, I put the blueberries and the raspberries in the more shaded spot. So I think this can actually get away with being mostly flowers. Almost there. Oops, missed one. I'm kind of trying to work out what that's doing there. Maybe I just had a thought and then lost it halfway through. That's okay. Either way, we'll plant it in and just get these around it. Alright, just about there. So I know when we did the English garden there were points for having a massive plants. I don't know if that's the case with the utility garden, we'll find out. I know there's at least one garden where they don't like a lot of plants, so we'll see. Oops, oh dear. Well, that will probably get mowed. Right. That should be the flower side of things. The strawberries are in all around the edges, so we don't really need to give them a strawberry bed all of their own. We can put in, I think... Oh boy. Right, we need some zucchini. Might just put one of those in. Just pivot that. Trying to leave a little bit of a walk space between everything. We can also put in, so if you lose your zucchini you're in trouble. Hopefully they'll harvest enough from the first crop. We might put in 2 cucumber, maybe. Let's see if we can get a second one in. Just pivot it the other way so they're kind of dovetailing in. There we go. Pumpkins and lettuces should be next. Let's put the lettuce in between. That way if I've got a problem with my with gourds, then it should hopefully only affect one. This is way too much lettuce to plant all at once unless you're feeding a community. Alright, let's go with some root vegetables. I had carrots in here somewhere. There we go. There is a Steam achievement for planting carrots. I forget how many you have to plant. It is a lot. So if you're going for your Steam achievements, whoops, hopefully you can plant in a much straighter line than I'm managing. Oh fine, we're just going to have a messy carrot garden. I am going to put some ground cover down. Oh god. I was trying to plant those in a straight line, but I've given up. So like I said, it would be really good if the survivalists responded well to a utility garden, but you never know, we might get some that just prefer having a minimalist garden because then it's something less for them to look after afterwards. Although it would be hard to imagine a family dude wanting a minimalist garden if he had a chance at feeding his family. Alright, that is our carrot patch. Now, I saw a pumpkin in here somewhere. There it is. Alright, these things are big. So let's put this... We'll just pivot it just a little bit. What I was thinking was I might be able to flip it and dovetail it in, but that takes up a little bit much space. Oh no, we can try. Just try and get it. Okay, oops, no, we are not hammering the pumpkins, that would be bad. Alright, so that is our vegetable patch. We have our mulch section, we have our fruit trees, our orchard, we have our medicinal herbs and flowers and our roses for vitamin C. We have a bunch of currants for the same thing, strawberries, and we have grapes as well, just to give ourselves a variety of food. I think we can probably, I didn't manage to put in a cornice mass, but that's okay. We can probably call this garden a wrap. The only thing I'd be tempted to put in would be to put in some bark. And actually we'll go for the round. There's our stone aggregate. Put the bark in. And we'll just use that to kind of delineate our rather dodgy garden beds. Maybe I shouldn't put the bark in. Okay. Oops. So it says stone and wood for the gardens. Just put this down underneath the pumpkins. Actually, you know what we might do? We might just cover this entire area. Maybe. Given that stone is an option, we could also use stone aggregate on the outside. Let's just see how this goes. So all we're doing here is just putting in garden beds so that you can see the garden beds a little bit better. I am creating strawberry jam, I know it. Oops, that's not quite what I intended. So the reason you want to put bark down over your garden beds is for water retention and just to give the strawberries something to sit on apart from the dirt. So that pretty much, yeah, that's that tree getting in the way again, or rather me getting in the way of the tree. So hedge for privacy, plant foods, a nice quiet private spacing in behind the hedge. I was going to say that apple tree had better let me out of here. There we go. Actually, the rough edging doesn't look too bad. I was thinking I should square it up, but it's really not a square kind of garden. So this will be our finishing touch. You know what? We might make a wrap this session and just go to auction, I think, after we've done our garden contest. And I'm looking at the all barked in area here, and I'm thinking we will actually bark in all of it, at least this section. So that should be easy enough to achieve. It's growing on me, a bit like a fungus. There we go. Oh yeah, no, I like it. I like it better with all the stuff down. So this section at least will be all gravelled, all barked. Oops, no axes, that would be bad. If you want to fit it in flush with the hedge, you need a square edge, so just use your square bark as opposed to anything else. What I might do is I might just have this part not quite completely barked in, and then have the bark starting from about here. There we go. Okay, so that's all barked, that's all barked. We've done around those edges. We just need to go around to the rest. There we go. We just try and keep that semi-tidy. There we go. Just get that bit in. I know I've missed folk in chat before. I'm trying to keep a better eye on it, so anyway. Just so you know. Here we go with that. Almost there. We're not going to put garden lights into this garden. We're going to leave it as an unlit garden. Pretty much. There's a lot of outside activities here, unless you count the actual looking after of the garden, which would take quite a bit of time, even with the bark and everything else down. Right, just about there. Just going to try and get a shot of that as it stands, and then we'll get back to our gravelling, our barking, sorry. Okay, this should just be a narrow strip. Again, this section I should probably be using something with square edges on just to give myself that straighter, more flush fit, but that's fine. Okay. And I've forgotten to remove those plastic bins, so we'll do that in just a tick. That's done. Alright, let's just get this part here done. We're going to replace these with wooden bins, just like we have around the other side. Sorry, garden, other, compost, teak. Alright. Let's grab that as well. So that is our vegetable patch. Vegetable patch and orchard. Alright, I think that's enough for the happy snaps. I was contemplating changing this area, but I'm thinking what we might do instead is just put a couple of benches down in here, so that there's a bit of a place just to sit and do things. And I was just thinking we might go with maybe that. Bit big, wrong colour too. Actually, wait a minute. Let's go to the base with a dark cherry. Flip it. Sit it up along the wall. Alright, now you've got kind of like a quiet little haven. I also want a table. Small and not a Mac. Just kind of like a coffee table, but not. Something that matches in if I can. Right, so the closest I've got is that, and that's really not going to cut it. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, it would if it wasn't quite so big. Yeah. Alright, so that's where I'm going to leave that. You know, I think they need coach lights. I know, right? Shh. Decorations, lamps, hanging outdoor lamp. Let's give them a little bit of light in at least this section. All right. That will do. We are going to take this garden to the garden contest and just see how it goes. So, garden contest. Submit. Going for a crop garden, which is the other word for utility garden. They just have the same thing. We haven't done very well with our layout, and I don't blame them. So they think it's a professional garden with a lot of plants. They have various surfaces, and the grass was mowed, and it's actually put the house up by 47.5%. So that's not bad at all. Okay, let's escape to close that and put this place on auction. Well, we made Lone Wolf 37 happy, but he doesn't like the sofa. Maria is really happy, but she doesn't like the guns. And Ted... Okay, Ted, there's no canned food. Did you not look at the shelves downstairs? Okay, I think he thinks that canned foods aren't canned, but anyway, one bed is definitely not enough. After all, I'll be living here with my whole family. So yeah, so the couch change didn't work for counting as another bed. So next time we do something for him, we need to make sure we have 2 beds. He likes guns in the house, he likes first aid kits, a lot of water, a lot of supplies, and a lot of pasta and rice. So what's got me puzzled is why he doesn't think there's any canned food. But I'm not going to complain. I'm going to see if I can get him to maybe bid up. So let's negotiate this. We'll take it up by halfway and negotiate that offer. See what he thinks. He may not like it enough. No, he did like it enough to increase the offer. Awesome. Let's accept his offer. We are done with the old house with the bunker. It's going to a family. Modern gardens do not like an excess of plants, so when I do my next modern garden, I have to remember not to go nuts with the plants. And that, I think, is where we'll leave it. We shall buy a new house next... I keep going to say next week. We shall buy a new house tomorrow and go and see what we can flip. I think I can afford the moon base, but I don't know if I can afford it and still have enough to flip it properly. So that'll be interesting. But on that note, I will leave you. You guys take care. If you like the episode, please hit like. And if you want to see more, please hit subscribe. And I will check you all later. Have a great day.